Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi there, I'm Heather Logan. I'm based in Orlando, Florida, here in the USA, and I am your go-to chaos coordinator. If we haven't been properly introduced, I'm a work-life success coach who helps solopreneur moms streamline their businesses and create sustainable routines to manage the chaos so they can scale their income without sacrificing family time. But let's rewind a bit. As a wife and mom in a blended family of 4 kids, ranging from 19 to 6 months, life was already a whirlwind, as you can imagine. Throw in the global pandemic, and things got interesting. I spent nearly a decade working at Disney World. Yes, I am a total Disney nerd, where I loved my job, making magic every single day for families around the world. Primarily in guest relations and customer service, leading exciting projects for improving the guest experience. But like so many others, everything changed in 2020. I suddenly found myself back at square one, transferred to a full-time job that no longer fulfilled me, working paycheck to paycheck. I was finishing my master's, planning a wedding, and caring for our kids in what little time working full-time allows, all while trying to navigate this new normal in the world. I was missing precious moments with my family, and the guilt was eating me alive. I knew there had to be a better way, but I discovered the world of online business at this time. And obviously, without knowing anything about online business, it definitely took a lot of courage, a lot of caffeine, and a dash of positivity to launch my business as a virtual assistant while still working full time. I posted in a few Facebook groups, and bam, I landed my first client within 24 hours. Before I knew it, I had built a 6-figure business. Sounds pretty dreamy, but not quite. I was working 12 plus hours a day. My anxiety was through the roof, and I felt like I was pouring from an empty cup. I was fortunate enough to give my husband the opportunity to work from home for my business, but the pressure of my business being the primary source of income for our family weighed heavily on me. My relationships were strained, and I was missing out on the very reason I initially started my business: more time with my kids and husband. One day, amid tears, exhaustion, my 7-year-old son, with his intuitive wisdom and big heart, looked at me and asked, "Mom, why did you start your own business if it makes you so sad?" That was a wake-up call. I realized I was helping my clients create seamless systems to simplify their businesses and scale to 7 figures, but I wasn't doing the same for myself. That's when I decided to practice what I preached. I took the systems I had built for my clients and applied them to my own life. I set boundaries, streamlined everything I could, and created routines that gave me back the control I needed over my time. Now my business works for me, not the other way around. I'm more present with my family, have more time for myself, and I'm reignited with passion for my work. Out of this experience, I created a signature framework called the CALM framework. CALM, with C standing for Create Solutions. I channeled my creativity to tackle immediate challenges with strategies that worked for me. Because strategies, if they don't work for you specifically, then they're not worth using. I wanted to make sure that I aligned my goals. I prioritized tasks that supported my ultimate vision, ditching the fluff that didn't matter. L, live well, embrace self-care, girls' trips, romance novels, hello wine nights to nurture my mental and physical health. And then M, maintained my growth. I committed to continually learning and growing, both as a mom and an entrepreneur. By applying these principles, I transformed my chaos into calm. I set boundaries, streamlined my processes, and started working smarter, not harder. Now I have more time for my family, game nights, traveling, and even indulging in a Netflix binge on a random weekday afternoon, or going to Disney World with my kids. But most importantly, I feel fulfilled in my business and life. And guess what? I'm here to help you do the same by finding joy in your business and life. I want moms to embrace the chaos of motherhood and help them see that success doesn't have to come with the hustle. It shouldn't come at the cost of quality time with your family or your well-being. There's a better way, and together we can find it.
So, what inspired you to pursue a Master of Science in Organizational Leadership degree, and how has this shaped your career?
So originally, when I worked for Disney, I was working in project management, and part of that was leading teams. And what I wanted to do was enhance my leadership skills. So when I went to pursue my master's degree, that was the one that most aligned with that in terms of developing those skills and being able to help a team accomplish more through these different frameworks in the organizational leadership field. And then my concentration was on project management within that. So leading projects and making sure that they're within the parameters, but still with creativity and making sure that things were being accomplished to meet the goals of the companies that I was working for.
So, as a ClickUp verified consultant, what unique insights have you gained about the project, about project management and operational efficiency?
So I always say that it really isn't about the software if you're not using it, correct? So a lot of times that people get really hung up on, I have to use this specific software to be able to accomplish these things. ClickUp is a tool, and it is a great tool to be able to utilize for accomplishing more, whether it's task prioritization, making sure that your routines are being set, using the calendar function to have like an optimized schedule. But what's most important for me and my clients is making sure that it is being used in the way that's going to help us most. So within that framework, you can use the different tools within ClickUp to work for you. So if you're a visual person and you like to see things on a calendar and follow a schedule pretty rigidly, you can do that. If you just like checking things off and you're more tactical, you can do that as well. So I always try to make sure that I design their workspaces, my clients' workspaces, in a way that fits their brain, how they best function, and really set it up so it's, optimized for their productivity.
It's always difficult, especially when you're multitasking and you have a number of things on the go, to be able to streamline everything that you're working on. So how has your background in public relations influenced your approach to business operations and team management?
So I think with my background in public relations, I really know how to connect with people right off the bat. And it's really important to have that connection in order to really understand the problems that they're facing and what the actual root of that issue is. A lot of times when people are having issues with operations, they'll come to me and they'll just say, it's just not working. And not being able to dig deep into that and really understand what it is that isn't working. So whether it's you have a CEO who's really just a visionary and they're trying to be the person that is doing it all, that is a hard pill to swallow, to be able to say, oh, well, it's because you're dreaming up all of these ideas, but there's no plan to actually execute them. And that's where we have to shift your operations in order for those things to get done, whether that's hiring someone that is going to be the executor or shifting their business in a way where it actually fits what they want to accomplish. So.
Yeah, a lot of startups are bootstrapping everything.
Yes.
And they end up working in their business, not on it.
Exactly. And then they're so tied up in every single part of their business, they end up becoming this big, giant just block for everyone because everyone's like, I can't get anything done because I'm waiting for this person to do this or anything like that. So my job when I come into an agency or a solopreneur business is to really find the space for them to best complete the things that they want to accomplish. So if that is, removing them from certain things, then we will do that. Keeping them in their zone of genius, as a lot of people like to call it, just making sure that they are where they need to be in order for their business to thrive.
I love it. What you're doing is so needed.
Yeah.
So what are the key challenges that agencies and course creators face in managing their day-to-day operations?
I think there is a couple of things. So one is playing reactively. So a lot of agencies and CEOs, course creators, they are kind of basing their day of how they complete tasks by what comes in. So whether it's their email that they're like, we received an email from a client and we're going to do this today, or there's a message that comes into Slack or whatever it is. And they're like, okay, let's jump and fix this and let's jump and fix that. Playing reactively doesn't allow for you to actually get anything done because you are clearly just following whatever is coming in. Having a plan, seeing the big picture is, I think, the hardest thing for a lot of course creators and agency operators, because if you can see the big picture, then you can actually plan. And there's a saying like when you can't see, when you're in the weeds, right?
Yes.
It's so hard to, come back and say, oh, okay, well, I am playing reactively. I'm living in my inbox. I'm living in my chat and all of that, and not actually completing anything from day to day. And when you are completing those things day to day, those things that are coming up in your chat, in your emails and all of that, those things get fixed because you're actually fixing the root of the issue, the systems that are causing the issues. And so it really is hard to think about that. I think a lot of agency owners and CEOs and everything, they really have a hard time kind of stepping back because they're sitting there like just trying to put out fires throughout the day instead of actually stepping back and saying, okay, how can we make this more streamlined? How can we fix the actual things that are causing these fires in order for things to run more smoothly?
Now, can you walk us through a case where your operation strategy significantly impacted a client's business growth or profitability?
Yeah. So I actually started working with an agency out of California about 3 years ago. And They started as kind of a boutique marketing agency. So they had about, I want to say three like clients that they were working on with like advertising. And then they had about 7 clients that they were working on for social media marketing and those types of things. And these are all smaller businesses that they were really just trying to help, mom and pop shops to grow their local, advertising and awareness. And so they brought me in because they wanted to kind of expand their reach and wanted to work with more franchises. And so when I came in, there were no systems kind of set up for this. And the part of their business that they wanted to expand was their advertising side and SMS marketing. So the important part about this was obviously making it so that it was more productized instead of, customized for causing, anything that's customized is going to create kind of a harder way to scale, right? Because it's harder to scale when you are customizing every single service that you're offering. The actual program itself, the productizing, that is the custom strategy that you're providing to your clients. You want to make sure that that is unique and special, but you don't want it to be unique and special to the client themselves, because then that's when you run into issues with scaling and making sure that those systems can actually expand with program that you're selling. So what we did was we productized their services, making sure that this was something that could be a repeatable, customized system for each client that we worked with. And then we went from, I want to say, like I said, there were about 3 that we were advertising. By the end of the year, we were over 100 clients, and we have been able to recreate that productized program for another franchisee, and that has also grown into over 100 clients as well. And so their team has grown, of course, from there were 3 people on our team when we started, and now we're almost up to 20 people. So it's very exciting, of course, to be able to scale in that manner, but also to have an idea of how you can expand your products, your services without causing more stress for yourself, right? As the agency owner, I'm sure for him, it was like, I don't know if I want to grow. I'm not ready for that. I don't know if I can handle all of these clients, but being able to have a system in place, a training program in place, a hiring process in place, in order to expand those services and scale at that level is so important.
Oh, that is absolutely crucial. How do you use data to shape and refine strategies for client businesses? And why is data-driven decision-making so essential?
Yeah, so data-driven decision-making is crucial. When you are looking at the numbers, that's how you should be making decisions on whether something is working. So a lot of times, obviously, getting feedback from your clients is one way to obtain that data and pivot if things are not working in the way that they would like them to work. But one thing that I always look at that a lot of people don't dive deep into the numbers a lot of times because they're so, like I said, in the weeds. So they're not taking a step back and looking at the big picture. But when it comes to working with advertising clients, when it comes to working with SMS marketing campaigns, email campaigns, any of those things, the numbers are going to tell you what's working and what isn't working. And it is so important to actually look at what those numbers are telling you. An example of this is if you are launching a website and people are jumping off the page at a certain point, that is obviously telling you that there's something where they reach that point that's not capturing their interest. It's the same thing with ads. If they're looking at the ad people are clicking on it, but they're not filling out the information, there might be something wrong with the form. Maybe it's too complicated for them to fill out. It's asking too many questions. The ad isn't, giving them enough information from the get-go in order for them to really know if they're interested in this product. So looking at those different movements of what your audience is doing can be really the difference between you making your money back 2 times, 3 times fold from your ads and not getting any traction on them at all. Again, obviously data is important in terms of the actual money that you're making, but there are other things that, do affect that, the traffic that you're getting and all of that in order to increase those numbers later. So that is very important, I think, in making sure that you're making the right decisions and pivoting when you need to if things aren't working.
I love that. It's also very accurate. It's a scientific approach to trying to see how your business is going. Can you share some best practices for optimizing project timelines without sacrificing quality?
So the first thing that you can do in terms of a project timeline is you want to make sure that you're accounting for every part of the project. I think a lot of people make the mistake of kind of just generally saying okay, first we're going to create this ad, then we're going to have them funnel into the CRM or something like that. But they don't think of, well, we actually need to create the form for them to fill out. Then we actually need to determine what that follow-up cadence is going to look like. So what messages are they going to receive once they fill out the form? What's that follow-up look like, that nurture look like? And a lot of times when you are skipping those steps in your project timeline, that means that you're not accounting for the amount of time that it is actually going to take to complete and to optimize the performance of whatever it is that you're creating. So the first thing that I always tell people is really make sure that you are breaking things down into smaller tasks. So you really have a big picture of everything that actually needs to be done in order to get that project complete.
Right.
When you do that, you are also creating kind of a quality assurance along the way because you're taking those different steps and you're able to say, okay, this is how I'm going to make sure that this is working correctly as designed. And you're actually thinking about these different parts instead of looking at it as a big picture, oh, great, I created the ad and I connected this to the CRM and everything. But then if you didn't take the step to, optimize your form or design the form or anything like that, then you're obviously going to run into quality issues because the form, let's say, isn't branded, or you're having text messages going out to clients that have nothing to do with the offer that they signed up for or anything like that. So really testing and making sure that you are really going through each step accurately is going to help you with quality assurance, making sure that your timeline is accurate from the get-go. And it makes things more realistic on the project timeline as well, because you're allotting for that time to create or build in those quality steps as well.
Now, let's go back to how you are project managing your life. Juggling so many balls. You have 4 kids. You said the youngest is, what did you say, 6 months old?
So when I started, he was 6 months old. So now he's 4. Yeah. So I was definitely juggling a lot when I started. And obviously my kids are older now, but our 4-year-old is still at home with us now. So of course that can definitely run into its own challenges of obviously balancing that day to day. Since he is at home with us, I really feel for a lot of the moms out there, especially that are, having to pay for childcare when they're at work full time. And that was something that I really struggled with when I was working full time, because it was I was paying essentially for someone to watch my kid but all of my money was going back to that, right? So
Oh,
it's like,
yes.
how is this helpful to anyone? Because I'm not even there for my kids, like, major moments or major milestones. Also, all of my money is going back to that. So like for me, it was just not worth it, because
Yeah.
obviously having this freedom of being at home, being able to kind of balance that with him, but also be there for those important moments was very important to me.
Yeah, that is crucial. Sometimes it's a bit of a juggle, right? You're trying to make the
Yeah.
money, but you need the childcare and just getting that fine balance so it actually works out and it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely.
That is fantastic. What's next for Engage Virtual Solution? And are there any new services or tools or goals that you're excited to implement in the near future?
Yeah. So Engage Virtual Solutions is kind of the umbrella company, and that is where I have been primarily supporting my clients so far in terms of systems and helping agencies scale, course creators as well. And
Right.
I actually have recently started a new branch of my business called Recrafting Chaos. And that part of
Okay.
my business is all about supporting solopreneur moms and scaling their income while making sure they're not sacrificing that family time, because that was very important for me. When I first started, I offer one-to-one coaching there. I also just help consult on different projects, making sure that everybody has the support they need, because I know that when I was, first starting out, it would have been so helpful to just reach out to somebody that had done it before.
Yes.
So it's just really important for me to create a part of my business that was more focused on those moms in business, people that were just like me that I wanted to support in that. And I thought, with helping those agencies and those clients grow their businesses to 6 and 7 figures, it's like,
Yeah.
why can't I help the moms do that too, right?
Yes.
So it was really important for me to do that. So I'm really excited to kind of expand that part of my business and
Okay.
make sure that I'm providing that support for those, just starting out and or wanting to expand beyond where they are now, but feeling like they can't. For me, when I was overwhelmed, I was like, how can I possibly increase my income? I have no time. I don't have any energy at the end of the day. And, when you start your own business, you're not starting it to, work all the time. You're not
No.
starting it to, have those 16 plus hour days where you're just like, why did I do this to myself? When I had an office job, I could just leave and leave the work at home or work at business, and it's hard to do that when you're at home. So it was really important for me to expand this part of my business and offer those services to those people out there that need it.
I love it. My last two questions are a bit of a time experiment
Mhm.
where I'm going to teleport you into the past and we are going to go and have a conversation with that young woman who decided to go into the world of business, start her own thing. If you could go back and give yourself 3 nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
It's a great question. I would say one definitely would be to think about my schedule and how I am creating time, not only for my family, friends, myself, self care, and making sure that my business hours were set before anything else. So that way I am making sure that things aren't spilling over or taking over any of that time. Two, I would definitely set boundaries more. I think it was really hard for me at the beginning to set those boundaries because I wanted to make sure that I was, supporting my clients and making sure that they were happy, and it came at the cost of my own happiness. So I think it's really important to make sure that you are setting those boundaries and, like I said, those hours. So that way you are taking the time for yourself, taking the time for your family. And then three, I would create a business that allows you to have that flexibility. A lot of times people just kind of run with whatever works from the start, and they don't really think about the big picture or long term. And so they end up struggling or having a business that they're not excited about. So really thinking about that at the start, about how these boundaries, excitement for your business really does play into how successful your business can be. So I think taking the time for that is really important at the start, so that you're building a business that works for you, your life, your boundaries, and your time, so that you're spending the time doing what you want to do.
Last question is, let's now go into the future. And we're going to teleport you to go and meet the 90-year-old you. She's sitting in her rocking chair surrounded by her children, her grandchildren. If you could teleport into the future to go and have a conversation with this wise woman who's led you up until that point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
You did it. I think I would tell her that I was proud of her for helping so many people that needed it, for creating a business that you're proud of, and for making sure that people knew that they could overcome all the things that they were going through, the help, of a friend, of a coworker, someone that's cheerleading for them. So I would just be excited to see all that she's accomplished, and make sure that she knows how proud I am of her for getting everything that she did done.
I love it. And I love asking that question, because a lot of women forget that the wise woman is already in them. She's that little voice in our heads that says, go left, go right, say yes, say no, do it, do it, do it. But we don't trust ourselves most of the time. We look outside of ourselves for the solutions, but the solutions are within. So thank you for trusting your wise woman. Sounds like you're building an incredible business. And thank you for coming to inspire us today with your story.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement, a group of women who come online to share our stories, to uplift you, inspire you, and energize you. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks again, Heather. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.